then that means you probably have an error somewhere in the program. And to kind of explain this, what you do, and what I like to do, is I go over here to Sample Custom Fiber, the DLL. You right click it, copy it, or you can use Control-C. Go back to our other window, where our root directory of Grand Theft Auto is. Look for it. And since I already have a previous one in, I'm just going to delete this one. And I just use Control-V as a shortcut for copy. And here's the tricky thing is, it'll copy into Sample Custom Fiber.dll, but you have to rename this for the script hook to recognize it. So I just go here to rename. Oops. Try it again. Rename. There we go. Just click over here, backspace, ASI, and hit enter. You'll get a message like that, and just click on yes. And now it's going to be able to recognize the file. And the way this kind of works, and again, I hope I'm explaining this right, and I apologize if I'm not. File Checkfix.asi, this is what allows mods to happen in Grand Theft Auto. And this other file here is really interesting. This dsound.dll is majorly necessary in the game. Make sure that you also have the ability to mod inside of your folder. So you should have the ability, and I could probably go in a little bit more detail here, but if you right click actually over here, actually not, yeah, I'll do it right here, and you click properties over here with security. These actually shows right now that I have full control as the owner. I have full control as a system administrator, user, trusted installer. If you look down here, you see that these are all allowed. Sometimes you might not see that. And if you don't see that, to run the game, you actually want to do this. And most people may not or may not know this, so I apologize again if you don't or do. You would click here, hopefully you can see this, you would click on, oops, let's do that again. Oh, actually, you know what? I was thinking of something else. You would right click on Launch GTA IV, and you would click Run as Administrator. You get a pop-up box. I'm not going to do it now, but you would click Continue, otherwise it would run the game and it would ruin the tutorial here. So anyways, it would run the game with the mod that we just installed. So getting back to what we were saying here, we've got Spawn Global actually working hand in hand here with the custom fiber thread.h. And this is just one example. You want to make sure you include all of your functions in here as well as in here. If you're missing any of these in here from here, the compiler's going to complain. It's not going to be able to find the information. And you probably notice my header file is pretty huge. I wish I could actually reduce it. Some of these functions here have no connections. I mean, they exist in here to here, but I don't really have them linked up where you can use them in the game. A lot of test functions. I'm just a beta tester, and I'm always looking for new stuff, playing around with stuff. Like I got some pretty funky ones here. I could go off subject, but I don't want to lose myself on a tangent here. So anyways, getting back here, that's basically that's the general idea you want to know in programming, is make sure everything is in a header file to this file. That is the most crucial thing you could do in making sure that you eliminate more of your mistakes as programmer or scripter. And okay, going back to what I was talking about earlier, some of the other files in addition to this one are this one, for example, scripting.h. It's another file that comes with script hook. You would just click on it and it'll populate up here again. And this file, this will probably throw off a lot of people, but this file itself, these are actually what are called natives in the game. The native itself is actually the file itself that does the action inside the game, as long as you're using the right arguments. And let me get back here again. These right here, where the comma is separated, these are the arguments basically. And let me use an example, because my Spawn Global is my own, so that won't be in this list. And you can create your own, but I won't go into detail on that. That's a little bit more advanced. Let me find one that is. This change player skin, I'm pretty sure this is over here, so I would just right click it and copy it. Go back over to the scripting, and I've already got my window up here, so I would just erase this, Control V, and hit enter. And actually, you know what? It does not exist in here. And that's how you can tell if something to search it, just by doing it. So let me look for something that actually does exist here to save myself some time here and some trouble and some embarrassment. Damaged pit body part. I have to find one that I'm actually using. And some of these I am not using. I know this one is in there. So actually, if I go back here, right there. Okay, so this is the native is actually talking. So if you look at this native, it has two arguments. It has ped and trot speed. Now if you go back over here to scripting, I'm going to close this one because this one's going might interfere with some stuff here. Okay, so go back over here, and you notice it has two arguments, ped and ped. These are actually a class of each other. They're an object, and this is the parent, and this is the child. This is basically talking to this one. They are required to be used in the game. It's how the class, it's how this script hook is set up to use these classes. Without this, it won't understand what you're doing. So always make sure you do ped, ped, and you also note it up in other examples here. I don't want to lose myself here, but go back up here somewhere. You'll see object, object. Right here's object, object. Vehicle, vehicle. Those always have to be used in twos, just like that. If you don't use them in twos, though, the compiler will probably complain, or it's possible that the game just might crash when you go to use them. Anyways, getting back here, these are the two arguments. We have ped, and we have this one for speed, and you can name these whatever you want. This is a unary value. Basically, a unary is like, and try to explain it, and again, I'm probably going to catch myself here, but it's basically a numbered, a range of numbers you can use. It doesn't include any text strings or constants or anything like that. And again, I probably have to brush up on it to give you more example about it, but if you go back over, if I click back over here again, you see trot speed. So here's what I'll do. Actually, if you look up here, you'll see trot speed goes between, and I'm not going to explain this and I'll lose myself or on a tangent here, but this is basically, I'm using it as an integer. An integer is actually without decimals. It's a number between 1 and however far up the integers can go, and I'd have to, again, do my research to pull the book out to look at that. I'm not here to give a full C++ explanation, but rather explain how to mod in GTA. So anyways, you see these are the two arguments, and you always have to make sure the arguments match this. Now, for example, if I go in here and I just make up, they'll just make up one that actually exists, because if I try to use one that doesn't exist, I'll get different errors that I don't need. So this right here, this variable already exists. It's already, if you can actually find out if a variable exists too by holding your mouse over it. As long as you see that little yellow box there, you know that that variable is listed somewhere in memory. It's either in global or in local area. So basically, it's actually, in this example, it's in it's in global, and I use global a lot so it can talk to my other functions. Global means anything outside of this little box, from void to this brace to this brace. And these are braces. Braces actually hold the code inside, and I'm getting a little bit more explanation about C++ in a way now. But anyways, that's kind of how that works. And anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rebuild this. So I'm going to run it down here. I'm going to try to enlarge this window a little bit so people can see it a little bit here. Hopefully you can see that. I'll just move this up here a little bit. And of course we got a failure, and I hope you can see this window down here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And right here, what you always want to do is you want to look for error. I've highlighted the line here. Hopefully you can see it. I'll move it up here a little bit. Right there. You can see that there's it's saying set character move animation speed multiplier function does not take 3 arguments. What this is actually saying is, and if you go back here and you look, it's saying exactly what it says. This function does not require 3 arguments. You've got 3 arguments in here. What you can do is you can actually hold your mouse over here. This is kind of a cool trick. You see where it shows the whole native name, set character move animation speed multiplier, in that little yellow line there. And it says scripting, : ped, U32. Notice there's only 2. And of course, if you go back here, that's obvious. You can see there's only 2. And also, if you look over here, these are actually required, and this is a part of the way Eru has built this script hook himself. He's actually got this, this is a new feature he's got, by the way, this native. I don't know what this native does, but he changed some of this stuff in here. And actually there's 2 arguments here. There's 1 and 2, and of course they always match what's over here, 1 and 2. This is actually 1 argument, and this is the second argument. And also, when you use these, make sure that you're always including what type of declaration you're including. In this example, I'm including an object of a class, so you would only use the second one, which is ped. And this one you're including unity value, so you're going to use the second value. So usually, as long as you use the second value, you're okay. But to kind of explain this, these B8s, these are bulls, these are true falses. And again, it would probably go into more an explanation. These are integers, and if you see a type declaration, you see it's a type definition integer. Anyways, that kind of explains that part, but just make sure that you're always doing that. And getting back to what we were talking about here, I'm going to move this down a little bit. clear this out. Now, I may have to shorten this video a little bit because I know YouTube videos are limited, so I think I'm going to narrow that down for that one right now. This is the basics of what you're looking at. These are the 3 files that actually work a lot with the game. There is some other stuff I could go into another tutorial, but right now I think I'm going to close it on that. That kind of gives you a head start of where you're going. Thank you for watching. And also, please subscribe to my videos if you're interested, and post your comments. Give me your feedback. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, or what kind of information you need from me, or basically from programmer to programmer, what information we could share. Even if you're interested in sharing mods, hey, I'm all for it, as long as you can become trustworthy. And I'm usually pretty good on that, but it's a good idea to get to know somebody before you give out too much information. Anyways, I'll kind of close it right here. You guys have a good night.